Welcome, Sagittarius souls, both familiar travelers and brand new seekers. Whether you've been journeying with us through the wild constellations for years or you just wandered in like a curious centaur chasing whispers of destiny, I'm truly glad you're here. This is Zodiac Talks Tarot, a space where astrology meets soul psychology, where tarot isn't fortune-telling, it's truth-tapping. Now, if Sagittarius shows up in your sun, moon, rising, or even in Mercury, yes, that chatty planet that loves to stir the pot, then this message could resonate deeply. But let me be clear, this isn't for everyone. This is for the ones who've felt the spiritual ground rumble lately. For those whose hearts have been trembling in rhythm with something greater. That's not coincidence, it's confirmation. You're one of the chosen ones, and the year of triumph 2025 is knocking with purpose. I say this with the experience of someone who studied the stars, human behavior, and the quiet wisdom of the Buddha for more years than I can count. Trust your intuition. If this reading feels like home, it's because your spirit remembers it. And if it doesn't fit, that's fine too. Don't force it like a pair of shoes you swore would stretch but never did. As I always say, the world feels a little smaller and a lot kinder when we connect in this way. So let's sit down together, breathe deep, and see why Spirit made sure you pressed play today. Chapter 1, Current Energy, Focused, Fierce, but still feeling the echoes. Let's start with the truth, Sagittarius. Right now, your energy is razor sharp. We pulled the Eight of Pentacles, and let me tell you, if there were a gold medal for focus, you'd already be polishing it. You're dialed in, building your craft, honing your skills, and doing your best to ignore the background noise like a Zen monk meditating on a New York subway platform. That takes skill. Respect. But here's the thing. Right next to all that focused, get it done energy, we've got the Devil card. And no, it's not about pitchforks or haunted basements, it's about the emotional cobwebs you've been sweeping under the rug. The Devil represents addiction, obsession, or just plain old inner entrapment. This could be a toxic job, a looping thought pattern, or someone in your life who's got more red flags than a football referee. Whatever it is, it's been eating up your headspace like a browser with too many tabs open. You've been stressed. You've been drained. I wouldn't be surprised if you found yourself Googling things like, can emotional trauma make your brain melt? Or why am I crying while doing laundry? Trust me, you're not alone. But here's the divine twist, we also pulled the Star card. That's Spirit's way of saying the worst is behind you, and hope is no longer on back order. You're learning to breathe again, not just through your lungs, but through your soul. It's that quiet moment when the weight lifts and you realize you don't need to carry every broken piece of the past to prove you survived it. And let's talk about that Four of Cups. You've got choices on the table, but only one truly speaks to your heart. The others? They're just distractions dressed up as opportunities. You're becoming incredibly selective about what you give your energy to, and that's not selfish, it's spiritual maturity. It's called discernment, and it's your new best friend. You're not just learning to give anymore, you're relearning to receive. And in this year of triumph 2025, that's not just a shift. That's an upgrade. Receiving is an act of courage. It's saying, yes, I am worthy, without needing an apology or a permission slip. Sometimes, the real growth doesn't come from silencing the chaos, it comes from choosing not to reply to every frantic group chat going off in your mind. You're not ghosting your problems. You're evolving past the need to entertain them. Chapter 2, Springing Forward, Victory over Trauma. Let's talk about what happens after the breakdown. Sagittarius, you've been through it emotionally, spiritually, even neurologically, judging by that throbbing victory headache you've been carrying around like a trophy you never asked for. And I get it. When you've walked through the fire and managed not to combust, you don't come out the same. That dull ache behind your eyes? That's not dehydration, it's the soul's version of a hangover from spiritual battle. Welcome to the other side. The truth is, you've outgrown something. Or maybe a few somethings. That job that felt like a hamster wheel. That friend who drained your spirit like a leaky faucet. That old version of you who settled for scraps, applause, or emotionally unavailable partners. Gone. You've evolved, and now those half-hearted options around you? They look like expired coupons from 2017, technically still there, but utterly useless. The Four of Cups shows up again in this part of your reading, and it's not subtle. It's a nudge, no, a spiritual shove to pay attention. You've had a taste of real purpose, something that lights you up from the inside out. And once you've had that taste, everything else just feels like lukewarm leftovers you forgot in the back of the fridge. You're not bitter, you're discerning. That confusion you're feeling now? It's the recalibration. It's what happens when the fog clears and you finally realize what you don't want. There's wisdom there, Sagittarius. Buddhist psychology teaches that freedom doesn't come from getting more, it comes from letting go. And oh boy, are you letting go? Of attachments. Of distractions. Of everything that once felt urgent but never really fed your soul. You're stepping into a space where you're no longer willing to chase things that dim your light. You're claiming your fire, not asking permission to use it. And no, this isn't a phase. This is your new normal. When you know what sets your soul ablaze, you stop playing with wet matches. So yes, it may feel scary to close doors. But trust me, the universe doesn't slam them to punish you, it does it to redirect your power. You're not losing options, you're eliminating illusions. You're not stuck. You're springing forward. And this time, you're moving with clarity, courage, and a whole lot less emotional baggage. Chapter 3, Immediate Future, the Final Push, the Sacred Detour. Buckle up, Sagittarius. The next chapter of your journey is less of a slow stroll through a meadow and more like being launched from a cosmic slingshot with fire in your chest and destiny in your sights. The cards don't mince words here. We've got the Knight of Wands, the Seven of Swords, the Five of Swords, and just for emotional seasoning the Three of Swords. If this were a movie, this would be the climax montage. The dramatic music swells, the hero limps forward, the rain pours, but you know they're about to win. That's the energy. This is the final push. The sacred detour. And you're right in the thick of it. Let's start with the Knight of Wands. This is your signature vibe, fiery, fearless, charging ahead with zero hesitation and maybe only some idea of what's next. Fire signs don't need every detail mapped out, they just need momentum. And Sagittarius, you've got plenty. You may not know where the road ends, but you've got enough gas in the tank and enough spirit in your soul to outrun your past. But let's not pretend this is all smooth sailing. The Seven of Swords and Three of Swords suggest that you've been through something, maybe betrayal, maybe deception, maybe that moment when you realize someone in your life was more emotionally constipated than you thought. Painful? Yes. But defining? Absolutely. And now you're smarter, shrewder, and a lot less likely to ignore your gut. You're realigning not just your career or relationships, but your whole energetic blueprint. You're adjusting your expectations, recalibrating your purpose, maybe even switching spiritual gears. In Buddhist terms, this is the noble discomfort before the breakthrough. It's messy, it's unpredictable, but it's holy. The Five of Swords here marks the end of the fight, not because you gave up, but because you outgrew the battle. It's that sacred moment where you realize you're no longer fighting to win someone else's approval or to fix what's already broken beyond repair. That's not defeat. That's liberation. And yes, it feels disorganized. Confusing. Like your inner GPS is buffering. But trust me, the wheel is turning, and when closure knocks open the door, you're not just changing jobs, moving cities, or rethinking your diet. You're changing lifetimes. So breathe deep, aim high, and walk boldly into the next phase of your evolution. You're not lost. You're just taking the scenic route through your destiny. Chapter 4: Victory and Receiving, Claiming the Crown. Let's talk about arrival. Not the Hollywood kind with fireworks, flashing lights, and a red carpet, but the soul-deep kind. The kind of arrival that comes after walking through the fire barefoot, still clutching your vision like a survival map. Sagittarius, this is your moment. And according to the cards, the Six of Wands and the Wheel of Fortune, you're not just turning a corner. You're turning the tide. The Six of Wands is all about victory, public recognition, personal celebration, and finally being seen for who you are and what you've endured. You're not just showing up. You're showing out. And the Wheel? That's divine timing spinning in your favor. The momentum is shifting, not because you forced it, but because you earned it. This is what happens when the universe finally aligns with the grit in your bones and the hope in your heart. Now, let's address the elephant in the room, or should I say, the trembling inner child hiding behind the curtain. Yes, you're stepping into a new version of yourself. Yes, you still might feel like the kid holding a teddy bear in one hand and a microphone in the other. That's normal. Growth doesn't mean fear disappears, it means you don't let fear drive the bus anymore. This chapter is about receiving. And I get it, you're great at giving. You're the one who shows up, holds space, carries weight. But the tables are turning. Spirit is saying, enough martyrdom. It's time to let good things land in your lap without feeling guilty, without explaining yourself, and without pushing them away like a hot plate. Your hands are allowed to be open now, not just to give, but to gather. You're no longer walking into rooms wondering if you belong. You're walking in like you built the room. Or at least like you paid rent on it and rearranged the furniture for better feng shui. Even if your knees are knocking and your throat is dry, you're doing it. You're showing up. And here's a little spiritual reminder for the skeptics in the back: even Moses had doubts. But he still parted the Red Sea. You just need to part traffic and step into your calling. Preferably with less sand and fewer plagues. Because this is elevation. And it's not just personal, it's cosmic. Chapter 5: Guidance, the Kings Within. Let's talk guidance, and not the kind you get from a motivational fridge magnet. I mean real, soul-deep guidance, the kind that shows up not with whispers, but with archetypes. In your case, Sagittarius, you've drawn the Nine of Swords, Ten of Swords, King of Wands, and King of Pentacles. Which, let's be honest, is a full-on spiritual power panel. Now, before we dig into the royal business, let's acknowledge the reality of the swords. The 9 and 10 of Swords are heavy. We're talking sleepless nights, racing thoughts, and that feeling like your brain forgot how to file emotions in the right folder. It's like your inner critic suddenly got a megaphone and started quoting your worst fears at 3 a.m. Fun, right? But here's the good news. The 10 of Swords marks the end. The final scene. Credits rolling. You've hit rock bottom emotionally, and now the only direction left is up. In Buddhist philosophy, This is known as samsara's tipping point, when the suffering becomes so acute that it catalyzes awakening. Pain becomes teacher. Anxiety becomes compass. And rock bottom becomes holy ground. Now enter our two kings. No, not from Vegas, but from within you. The King of Wands is your fire, creative, magnetic, bold to the bone. He doesn't ask permission to lead, he just does. He's the inner version of you that knows how to walk into a room and shift the temperature just by being there. This is your charisma, your leadership, your let's build something from nothing energy. Then comes the King of Pentacles, the solid ground beneath your fire. He's not flashy, but he's the architect of abundance. He thinks long-term, builds empires from spreadsheets and sweat, and knows the value of emotional and financial security. This is the version of you that says, let's make this vision sustainable. Together, they're your divine masculine alignment. They're telling you, yes, you're anxious. Yes, the road ahead is unknown. But you have both the fire to move and the foundation to stand. That's not just growth, that's ascension. And it's tailor-made for the year of triumph 2025. So let the past rest in peace, preferably with no resurrection plot twists. Stand in your own revolution. Be bold. Be grounded. Be sag. And if you feel like you're juggling chaos right now, just remember, you're not crazy. You're just learning how to run your own spiritual circus, and spoiler alert, you're the Ringmaster now. Sagittarius, if you've made it this far in the reading, first of all, thank you for staying with me through all the metaphysical fire and soul level plot twists. This wasn't a surface level message, and honestly, it wasn't meant to be. This reading hit deep because you're deep. And you've earned every ounce of the insight pouring through these cards. As someone who spent decades studying both star maps and the maze of human emotion, let me say this: when a Sagittarius decides to rise, the whole world feels it. You don't just shift, you ignite. You are not the same wanderer you once were. You're not just chasing new horizons anymore, you're rebuilding them. You're crafting legacy out of lessons and painting future dreams on the canvas of your healing. You're a believer now. And not the naive, idealistic kind. You're the kind of believer who's seen the dark, faced the storm, and still wakes up asking, okay, universe, what's next? That's bravery. That's the mark of a chosen one. And if you've been feeling behind lately, like maybe your ship sailed while you were still packing your bags, let me stop you right there. You're not late. You're running on divine time. And spirit doesn't check clocks, it checks alignment. Your roar is returning. That spark in your chest? It's not just hope, it's a reminder. The crown was always yours, you just had to remember how to wear it without apologizing. Your path is clearer now. It may still be winding, but it's lit from within. And that's more than enough. So I'll leave you with this: life isn't just about healing from the past, it's about celebrating the fact that you made it through. Go out. Dance a little. Breathe deeper. Say no faster. Laugh louder. Choose what sets your soul on fire, and release everything that doesn't. And hey, if this message resonated with you, do me and your fellow Sag tribe a favor. Hit that like button. Share this reading with someone who needs a cosmic nudge. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Zodiac Talks Tarot so you never miss a message the universe handpicked for you. Because this is only the beginning. And Sagittarius, you were born for the long run.